Dear listeners, what you are about to hear is a reading of our correspondence and the beginning of our adventure together with a West African scammer. This scammer poses as the lawyer of a deceased client, who, after you respond to their unsolicited letter, is trying to get in touch with any relative of this deceased client who coincidentally happens to share your last name. Naturally, this heretofore unknown relative amassed a fortune in Africa in some business venture, and this scammer wants your personal information so as to release millions of dollars to you as the only living heir, for a modest fee to process their paperwork in your behalf, and a hefty cut of that wealth, of course. And so, our story begins. Miss Amanda, feeling blue at the lack of success of her new scam baiting channel with her friend Kevin, was beside herself.
Oh, Kevin, I just don't know what to do. By the time we make our calls, all the scammer numbers have been worn out by other baiters calling all day to abuse people, and all the phone numbers from address generator have been blocked. We can't do tech scammers since there's a 24/7 live stream of that, and others with tens of thousands of subscribers get the rest. You'd think there'd be plenty of scammers left over for us.
Amanda, don't worry about it. Even the big baiters had to start with no subscribers and start from nothing. But if it will cheer you up, I bet even someone from your favorite channel, Scambait Central, might happen upon our little channel.
Kevin, this is no time to make jokes. If we can't do any calls or get something, we'll never get anywhere with this channel.
There was no consoling Amanda, until when chance came, an unsolicited email from a West African man looking for a relative of a deceased client with lots of money appeared one day in Amanda's inbox.
Kevin! I finally got something. I've got an email. A 419 scammer waiting to be groomed.
Alright then, let's get to work.
Dearest listeners, while we don't know where the outcome of our adventure will lead, we present to you letters from a West African scammer. I'll play the part of me, and Kevin will play the part of the scammer.
Until we meet a female scammer at least, or get one on the phone. And full disclosure, I can't do accents to save my life, so you'll just have to imagine something like a Nigerian accent.
Kevin, why don't you start off?
Yes, of course. Dear friend, I am Mr. Donato Sedum, writing you in respect of my deceased client who died on the 24th of June 2015 along with his entire family. I have been trying to locate any member of his family to assist in repatriating the fund he deposited in Finance House valued at US $12.5 million. Do send following information along. And we have request for private information. Best regard, Pastor Mr. Donato Sedum Esquire.
Dear Mr. Sedum, I was quite surprised to see your email letter to me. I'm terribly sorry to hear of your dear client that passed away. How truly touching it is that you would still be trying to find family members to assist you in helping with the $12.5 million in funds after these couple years. I'm sure your client would be most pleased. You have been working so hard to find a recipient of this money. May I be of assistance to you in getting this fund? Please let me know when it is most convenient for you. Hoping to hear from you soon. Most sincerely, Amanda.
Dear Amanda Cuddel, many thanks for your email. Please let me properly introduce myself. I am a lawyer to the deceased engineer Jürgen P. Cuddel and the sole executor to the fund 12.5M he deposited with the bank here. So this is why I am very optimistic of this project. On my late client's information, note 8 engineer Jürgen P. Cuddel was with his parents here in Africa, who migrated from Germany in 1942 on a contract term, and I have known them for almost 20 years. His parents only have 2 children, a boy him and a sister Michelle. The sister has died earlier before the parent died due to her nature of illness. After when the sister died, the thinking about her lost is what has leads to their parents' death as well, now only leaving engineer Jürgen P. Cuddel alone here in Africa. He has been monitoring the gold and diamond business of his late father, which is the source of his wealth. Further, during December 2015, engineer Jürgen P. Cuddel died in a ghastly accident involving both his wife Juliet and their only daughter Rosanna, who was his next of kin, and he does not leave any will behind due to his untimely death accident. By law, the bank would have waited patiently to see if any close relative of his would come forth to their bank to put claim on his funds all this years, this in line to the bank policy here in Togo, without anyone coming forward as his next of kin. As the law demands, since I am his lawyer here in Africa, and also in Togo, the bank do mandate me to present urgently under a due time frame any of late engineer Jürgen P. Cuddle's surviving beneficiary who they can release his fund deposit at their bank to legally by law. I have tried all possible best to see if I can be able to locate any close relative of his without success before I decide in my mind to contact and present you to the bank as the only surviving beneficiary to my late client, so that the bank can process the release of his funds in their bank to you by law, and after the release we shall both make use of the funds for our personal future investment purposes. Reason on this my action was that I do not want bank to record this funds as unclaimed to the government treasury, because the government officials will only loot this fund out of their own selfish purposes only. The procedure that this transaction will request from your side is simple. Give me all of your personal information, including your address and other details, and picture of your passport or driving license, which I can process and register with bank, etc., etc., etc. We'll skip ahead a little bit. Inheritance release policy, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Once above is done, then bank will likely invite you come down to their bank to sign off funds, release paper, and you should not be able to come down. You shall give me a power of attorney to enable me represent you and sign the release paper so that bank can proceed with the transfer of the funds to your own bank account. The benefit on this transaction to us both, we shall both be sharing these funds together after the release in ratio of 50%, 50%. We shall possibly invest these funds together as well as for our own future purposes and family better future. My guarantee, I am assuring you that your assistance towards this transaction will not make you breach any law, because I have the letter of appointment copy with me as the sole executor of my deceased client's estates, and it is with this that I am going to legally register you at the bank and as the surviving beneficiary to my deceased client. Also, your support, both physically and financially, is not going to be regretted. So, my friend, I am ready to go into signing an agreement with you on this issue, so that with this, you shall rest assured on my word, and also your interest and support will be protected in the future. I hope you understand my message, and I will be waiting to hear from you as soon as enable us proceed. Regards, Donato Sedum. We can talk on phone after reading this email, so call me as soon as you are done reading. And no phone number was included.
My dearest Mr. Sedum, thank you for your further correspondence. There's a story about a member of my family we don't know much about, since he left the family when he was rather young, 15 I think, and first served as a pilot in the war fighting against the Nazis, but later went on to pursue work in Africa, along with a couple of British colleagues immediately following the Second World War. It makes my heart sore to think that this may be that long-lost relative. Do you believe this is him? It would bring joy to my family to learn of this lost relative and that he managed to have a good and successful life. Do you have any pictures or documentation of Mr. Jürgen P. that I can share with my grandmother? She is rather ill and we don't know how much longer she will be with us. If Jürgen P. is this relative, and I believe he is, he and the grandmother were very close cousins and friends before he left. It would bring tears of joy to her to learn of her long-lost relative. Awaiting more good news from you. Most sincerely, Amanda.
Dear Amanda, I have received your mail and the content therein noted. From your explanation, I cannot really say if truly my late client is a close relation of yours or not, but I have believed that since you share and bear the same last name with him, I can represent you to the bank, and the fund deposit in their bank which he deposited will be released you by law. Thereafter we shall both share and invest this fund together. I will search my file cabinet for his pictures, then I will scan and send this to you as you have requested. In the meantime, please forward to me your information details so that I can be able to register you with the bank here as the located surviving beneficiary to my late client, so as to enable the bank to process the release of his fund deposit to you by law. I wait for your reply soon. Regards, Donato.
Dear Donato, just a short response to you as I am leaving town to go work my job in the force of the Yukon. My access to email and phone out in the wild are not as frequent as when I'm in town, but I felt compelled to reply back to you. I spoke to my grandmother last night, as I often do before heading out of town for work. She was in very high spirits when I spoke to her about my conversations with you. She strongly feels in her heart this is her lost cousin, whom she affectionately called Georgie, because she was quite young and couldn't say Jürgen. She has encouraged me to do everything I can to work with you, not only in this bank fund transfer, but also receive from you any pictures or information you have about him and the life he had in Africa. If all of Jürgen's heirs or immediate family are no longer around, my grandmother, even though she is ill, very much wishes to honor his memory by handling any remaining business of his. My question to you is, would her information be more preferable for you to have, as she believes she is the closer relative to Jürgen than I am? We will await your clarification in this before we send anything, so that we have the correct information for the bank. Again, if you don't get a reply back from me as swiftly as before, it is due to my work in surveying Yukon forests, and I'll be in touch with you to respond as soon as I am able. My grandmother and I very much look forward to establishing a friendship with you as we learn more. Most sincerely, Amanda.
We thank you for listening to this first installment of Letters from a West African Scammer. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and encourage you to like and subscribe so that you can hear future fresh-baked episodes. As Amanda says, they aren't Troll House cookies unless they come freshly baked from us.
Until next time, dear friends. Ta-ta!